Hi there, Shane Craddock again, and welcome to the next in the CEO question series. Okay, so we've asked a few different questions at this point, and as you've probably seen already, a lot of the questions are, I think, pretty straightforward, but they're pretty useless unless we really ask and answer those questions honestly. And as a CEO, there's always a reason to be busy. There's always the distraction of getting consumed with problems, which is a problem in itself. And part of the discipline of being a very successful CEO is having the mental agility to move around, as you know, between what's most important in different contexts. Now, this question is a very simple but very powerful question that is highly useful and very practical. So the question is, what is the number one thing? So again, you might think, oh sure, I know that kind of a question, but even in terms of your year this year, what is the number one thing for the business or your organization this year? Are you crystal clear on what the outcome is? How do you measure success there? Are the people around you crystal clear about what the number one thing for the business is? Most of the time, in my experience, the people around the CEO are not clear. They're confused because there's so much change going on, and also because the CEO doesn't ask themselves continuously, what is the number one thing? Because the number one thing generally, in terms of impact, has a much higher impact than many other things. And so it does take time and mental skill, mental clarity in particular, to try and figure out what is the number one thing. Now that number one thing is always generally based around the top outcome that you're trying to create. The number one thing is generally strategic time, so generally you won't be highly urgent most of the time. It's going to require planning, prioritization, putting it into your diary, focus, and continuously just making sure that you and the people around you that are working with you are not getting distracted. That's where you need alignment. So that question can be used for the year. It can then also be used for the quarter. What's the number one thing for the quarter? For the company and for the team. And within each team, you can ask the question as well. And then for the month, the week, for the day, and even for the next hour. For you, for the next hour after you watch this video, what's the number one thing? My suggestion is you might consider figuring out for the next little few minutes after the video is, what is your number one thing for the next hour, for today, for the next week, for the next month, and as I say, for the next year. So hopefully you get some value out of that. Thank you very much.